Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Town Council organizational meeting for October 20th. Can I get a motion, please, of the agenda for the October 20th, 2020 organizational meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Chouinard will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that the council set the council and committee of the whole meeting schedule as noted in the memo? Councillor Byro make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried.
Oh, should have gone back.
Can I get a motion, please, that council set the council and committee of the whole summer meeting schedule as noted in the memo? Councillor Bevan will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that the members of council be appointed to the boards and committees in accordance with the attached schedule, their appointments to be effect until the 2021 municipal election? Councillor Wilkinson will make that motion, and I'll just comment on this, as I know this is always of an interest to members of council. When reviewing the committee list this year, I decided to leave status quo with what's going on with COVID. Felt it was important that we have consistency on the boards that we're on. Some of the organizations are dealing with COVID quite drastically, and also a number of the boards didn't meet much over the last year, so there was really no point in making a change at this point in time. So just a little different than years past. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Councillor Chouinard?
Since I'm on the right side of you, I would have to agree with you that it was fair, even though I would like the thing is, but in the last year, no one's really met. So
Yeah.
in this case, I will agree with you. But both yes.
Can you say that louder?
I'm on the right side.
He doesn't have a mic for a reason.
All right.
I don't have a mic.
All right. No further questions. All those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please? The council rotate the position of deputy mayor every 4 months between each of the councilors and confirmed the noted schedule established in the 2019 organizational meeting. Councillor Bevan will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please? The memorandum and attached information with regard to legislative responsibilities of council be received as information. Councillor Wilkinson will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please? The council accept the memorandum regarding important dates for 2021 for information. Councillor Byro will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. We'll have no questions about this from you or public. And Councillor Curry will make a motion for adjournment.
Yeah, I'm over here now, you know.
All those in favor? Motion carried.
Okay.
I missed you last time, so I thought I better.
You're-
I thought I would be able to see you better
I always
here.
thought Jean was in my way, but apparently not.
Must be my left vision. All right, we're going to call the regular meeting of the October 20th meeting of council to order. Can I get a motion, please, that the agenda for the October 20th, 2020 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Chouinard will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that the minutes of the October 6th, 2020 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Wilkinson will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please? The council adopt the FCSS Advisory Committee terms of reference as presented. Councillor Sorensen will make that motion. And I believe this was discussed at the last committee of the whole meeting, and any discussions have been incorporated into this terms of reference. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please? The council approve a time extension for plan endorsement for the subdivision 2017 TOE 005 as outlined in the memo. Councillor Byro make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? This was discussed at committee last week. Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Wow. We have no information items, no sundry items, council committee reports going back to October the 6th, and we'll start with Councillor Wilkinson.
Okay. On the 7th, I went to an open house on the West End development. On the 8th, I went to ASHA, the Northern AGM for the Alberta Seniors Community Housing Association. And luckily, through our Evergreen Foundation, Winston Delorme got elected as vice president, and Paul Butler ran but wasn't successful. On the 16th of October, I had an FCSSA meeting. That's our provincial meeting. On the 17th, we had the budget workshop.
All right, thank you. Councillor Byer?
Thank you. On October 8th, I had an Edson Library Board committee meeting. We had a presentation from a group. On October 13th, I had the FCSS Advisory Committee meeting. Also on the 18th, the Committee of the Whole meeting. The October 17th, the budget workshop. And today, October 20th, had our Youth Council recap and review meeting.
All right, thank you, Councillor Byer. Councillor Chenard?
Okay, on October 7th, I also attended the West End Advisory, and on the 17th, the budget workshop. That's it for my report.
All right, on October the 8th, I had the Alberta Forest Products Association, I was invited by the Alberta Forest Products Association for a federal pine beetle virtual announcement with Federal Minister Seamus O'Regan and our provincial minister Devin Dreeshen, where $60 million was announced to fight mountain pine beetle in Alberta. Council is well aware that the federal government hasn't funded pine beetle mitigation efforts over the last decade, despite calls. However, I think our regional group here with Hinton and some of the partners that we brought to the table were successful in convincing the federal government to bring funding forward, and I thank council for their advocacy on that. That was a huge announcement. And then on the 17th, the budget workshop, and earlier today, the Youth Council Review Committee meeting. Councillor Curry.
Okay, on the 13th, I also had the FCS Advisory Committee. And then on the 15th, Community Futures Board meeting. Sorry, let me just pull that up. I don't know, I'll leave some of that for Councillor Bevan.
I didn't have my notes.
Okay, so I think kind of big thing, I brought it up to you guys last time. There was more funding has been available. Currently, a little bit of an issue that they are advocating for. They gave additional operating funds to every Community Futures, no matter how many grants, or sorry, no matter how many loans you went out for the first round. But now for this round, they're saying it's based on how many loans you give out. And we gave out more than our amount, and some offices gave out no loans. And so it's one of those things that currently they are advocating, saying if we give out more loans, they cannot do it without the manpower. So that was for operating. So the staff with the loans have been going nonstop since this started. So they're just trying to figure that out, because it's definitely not, some offices that did no loans got the same amount of money. And if they're gonna give out new loans, and unfortunately the timelines on that are not, they want you to give out the loans before they'll tell you if you get more funds for operating. So the amount of, obviously, manpower to operate those loans is quite a bit, and so if we do it and take it on and give them out, but then get no more funds, it puts the staff in a very precarious position. So there was that, that was kind of the big thing. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that, then you can add, how's that sound?
Okay.
And then, sorry, I had the budget workshop on the 18th, this Saturday too. That was the 18th, whatever that
17th.
was, thank you.
Councillor Bevan.
13th, the FCSS Advisory Committee had an IRC board meeting on the 15th, and we also had the Community Futures. And on there, we had a backlog of, at one time, about 30 people wanting their rough funds, and that they were down to about 8 or 9 now, and I think they gave out about 2.8 million, I think it was, the people that couldn't get, through the government or whatever, and that, and they're still looking at more right now. They are doing their walk through towns again, and that Nancy was just down at Morad today and done a little video down there with Morad and stuff like that, and they were very happy to have them, and just kind of showcasing because of Small Business Week and that, so she was doing that, so they're out and about now, so it's really good. And 2020 budget meeting on the 17th.
Just a question to Councillor Curry or Bevan. Any uptake on the Edson business loan, or is it too soon?
too soon.
Too soon?
Yeah, a little too soon. We have asked ourselves in that, and they're just kind of compiling everything, and as we go into our meetings, we still vote on them, sort of deal in that, and there is a lot going on and stuff like that throughout the whole.
Yeah, I would add to that, something that was really interesting about these new loans, because it was a very different group of people that could access them, with some of the federal and provincial that they weren't. They saw new businesses and different businesses that they've ever seen before, so it really opened up. So it'll be interesting to see with that loan, because it's just not usually businesses we would see. And it does look already, because some of that funds, obviously, if you paid back by a certain time, you didn't have to pay back 25%, I think.
Yep.
And we're seeing payback right away, which is pretty amazing. That's not often what we see. So they are hopeful that this is a new business group that is accessing their services, and knowing that they're there not just for loans, but for the actual business coaching.
Okay, Counselor Sorensen.
All right, on October 13th, I was also at the FCSS Advisory Committee meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting later that night. October 14th, I was at the Chamber of Commerce meeting. I have to apologize if I misquote one of these dates because the audio on the Zoom meeting was quite bad. November 19th will be a late night shopping night. December 3rd, a night owl shopping. And then December 4th is planned to be the Santa Parade. They are looking at some new options for this year, potentially doing a stationary parade where you drive by. But all of that is open, still very much in discussions, and there's a subcommittee working on trying to figure out what the best way forward is. October 17th had a workshop, a budget workshop, and the 20th today, Youth Council reorg meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will move on to, can I get a motion, please? Council accept the 2020 September quarterly report as presented. Councilor Chenard.
Actually, I had a comment
Oh.
on there, I forgot to, on FCSS on October 13th meeting.
Okay. We have Ms. Bittner here to run through the quarterly report. Just wait for technology to catch up.
Yes, I am waiting for the technology to catch up. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't do a vote on the, yeah, so he made the motion. All those in favor of the motion? Sorry. Motion carried.
Right, so before you there
Councillor
was the quarterly report along with the memo explaining any of those differences that were outside of 10% of around 75%, because that's where we sort of are as at the end of September. So I think I'll just ask if there's any questions on this particular item.
Anybody have questions? If not, I'm gonna ask a question through probably best to CO Derricott. Under legislative, which is council's budget line, we're at 58%. We're significantly lower than what we budgeted, and we don't anticipate any travel this year, for the remainder of the year. I know that the council renovations were removed off the budget. I don't know how much that was supposed to be, but maybe we could use some of those funds if council agrees, since we already have that money in the budget and it's not being used to complete that work. I don't know what we were looking at as a budget line originally.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll have to take a detailed look at that. I certainly appreciate the inquiry. My very initial feeling is that I'm not sure the amount of money that will end up being left over in the legislative budget would cover what we had initially anticipated. Somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000 on, again, depending on the scope of work we wanted to do here. But we'd be happy to take a look at what will be available and make some recommendations to council.
Okay, because I know it gets brought up here, but this is a big tripping hazard next to my chair. So, Councilor Chenard.
I thought we did the renovations, or tables renovations. But no, I would have to agree, there is a few things like tripping hazards. We don't have to spend a lot of money, but in some cases, we may want to look at a few items.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, can move on, Ms. Bittner.
So the next part that I wanted to bring to your attention, you'll see in your agenda, now that we've reached the taxation due date, which was September 30th, which had been extended from June 30th due to COVID, I thought I would do a comparison between 2017 to 2020, just to see where we are with our receivables. So you can see in May, you'll start off with the taxes due in, and then you can see in June, usually there's a big jump down because that's the due date, and of course with the yellow line being 2020, it stayed up. But if you look through to September here, you can see that we're actually very much in line with the previous years. I know that was one concern we were talking about was the taxes receivable, so I just wanted to show that it's actually looking very much in line with the previous year.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Through the chair, I think really the citizens of Edson should be commended. I'm really surprised at this, that they're just paying up so well.
Mm-hmm.
That really is quite something, because I know a lot of them are in hardship, so that's a plus.
Councillor Sorensen.
Through the chair to administration. How, are the November, December numbers forecasted, or how did you come up with those numbers?
Through the chair to Councillor Sorensen, I looked at we have what's called pre-authorised payments that come out at the first of every month. So I had anticipated those ones in there as well as some of the other ones that we know we always seem to receive late, and we've put those in as well, but they're really the only ones that I've put in here. So there actually could be more that we would receive in, but for this purpose I only put in the ones that I knew for sure that we would get before the end of the year. So it may even look better than this come the end of December. Can't guarantee, but it could.
Very nice.
Councillor Byer.
Through the chair to Ms. Bittner. So this graph shows the receivables. Do we know how many haven't paid? It shows the money coming in, but do we have a graph of how much hasn't come in?
Sorry, this is the graph of what we haven't received.
Oh, we haven't. Oh,
Yes, sorry,
okay.
I know the accounting term, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the graph of the monies that we have
I
not
read it the
received
other way.
in.
Oh, okay.
And so if you look to September, when the due date was, I did that comparison with other years, and as you can see, it's very much in line.
Okay,
It's
thanks.
actually
Sorry
better
about that,
than-
I should have explained that a little bit.
In this case, smaller numbers are better.
I better,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So based on
I took it
this,
the other way.
sorry to interrupt, based on this, we're actually better than we were last year in
Mhm.
end of September.
Well, if they're receivable. It says right there.
I was surprised to see so many payments
All
in
right.
May.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
On your mortgage.
The COVID-19 reserve should be fairly healthy then, I anticipate, at the end of the year.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we at the moment I think it's sitting at about 750. We've used it for other things throughout the year, but as far as needing it for this purpose that we thought we might, I don't believe that would be necessary.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Chenard.
That's 750, but we got 850, so or is that the number? Because where the province gave us 850,000?
That's a different.
So it's different, but it's not the COVID reserve, but we can count on that as well. We get 850 plus 7, so we're actually at 1.5.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Move on.
Also with the September quarterly report, we do a recap looking at all of the capital projects. So I've done here the approved budget from December, any additions and amendments that happened between that time and when it was passed in May, and then just the year to date at the end of September payments that have been made. Out to the right is just a little rundown of which projects we expect to be completed, or which ones are completed, which ones we expect to be completed before the end of the year, and which ones that you may see as a carryover into the 2021 year.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? Go ahead, Councillor Bevan.
Through the chair, so that snow dump is now completed with that. You done this up, it wasn't completed then, eh? It's all fenced now and seeded and everything's ready to go for the winter now. So it will be completed as of now.
Would be We can take that one.
Thank you, through the chair to Councillor Bevan. Yes, SONAP is definitely planned to be operational for this year. I assume here there's just a few minor issues being completed, as well as we just haven't paid basically the final substantial completion payment yet on that project. I don't know if, Mitch, you have anything to add to that?
No, that's 100% correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Through to administration, this may be COVID related, or I don't know if maybe the tenders came in over budget, but there seems to be a lot of carryover into 2021, so maybe Mr. Ham or Mr. Derricott can address that. I am concerned that we have a $12 million approved budget, and we've only expended just under $2 million. I know there's still some final bills coming in, but it seems like this is ongoing every year. We're carrying over a lot of projects that don't seem to be completed, and just looking for an explanation.
I'll make one or two brief comments, and then we'll appreciate Mr. Ham sharing his thoughts on that as well. One note I would make is of that $12 million, a large portion of that is $5 million for the multiplex, which we have budgeted in recent years just to ensure that we're prepared to take on any costs there. So that is part of it. And then I would just add to that, Mayor, there's obviously various reasons for the projects, some of which out of our control, but I think that you have heard me speak before, and Mr. Ham and his team are well aware that one of the things that we hope to see improved here is our business planning for capital projects and ensuring they're complete, and so we continue to be aware of that and sensitive to that as well. Quite frankly, I know Mr. Ham is frustrated that there's that many carryovers listed in this list. As I mentioned, some of them are just simply out of our control for various reasons. But regardless of that, I do think we still have some work to do to ensure that we have some better business cycle planning and bring some of these to a close in a more timely manner. And then I'll ask Mitch to add to that.
A pair of these are reflective of compliance issues that we faced through our processes, and just carried a much longer time frame than expected through COVID. And then a few of them are really just project timing based, and we're either working against the end of the year into the new year, or we'll be starting them as soon as possible in the new year. For example, the ground monitoring network is installed, but there is still a plethora of compliance issues surrounding it. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Ham. Thank you, Mr. Derricott. Councillor Byer.
Through the chair to administration. So when we look at this, just the format up here, it says approved budget 2019. So we should receive one or more of these in January for the 2019. So if we still have carryover then, are we still going to see the approved budget 2019 projects if they haven't been completed? Is that going to be added to the next new list? Does that make sense?
Sarah?
Through the chair to Councillor Byer, yes, they would. Any that aren't completed, when you see the one come back in December, we'd have much more of an idea of which ones will definitely be carrying over, and you'll see those added to that list that you saw at the budget workshop.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried. You're done, I believe, right?
She is now.
Thank you.
All right. Questions for media and public regarding items from this council meeting? Kayla, any emails? Nope. Can I get a motion, please, to move into a closed meeting session? Councillor Bevan will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. All right, thank you, Steve. Councillor Byer, you have a motion you'd like to make.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to accept the 5 new board members to the Edson Public Library Board as listed in the package.
All right, any questions, comments, or concerns? I just think it's going to be fantastic that we're going to have a full complement on the Edson Library Board, so thank you for that. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Councillor Chenard makes a motion for adjournment. All those in favor? Motion carried.